Hey, what's up? Jessica from Deborah. So today we're going to dive into the Propeller Ads push notification traffic platform, and I want to show you how to optimize the right way. So let's go ahead and jump into my computer and get started. Okay, great. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've retrieved a campaign that I would say is a good example of optimizing correctly with Propeller Ads. So the first thing I want to cover is the creation of blacklists, which is the process of identifying the zones that are not performing properly and then excluding them from your campaign. And you can do this as you are testing your campaigns. So it's crucial that you do this immediately as you're reviewing your data. Should you be probably running your campaigns on maybe a CPC bidding model, for example? If that's the case and you're getting a lot of clicks because you have a good push notification, but those clicks are not converting, then that means that you're going to be spending a lot of money on non-converting traffic, right? And that's not ideal when you are testing. It is good if you're able to get some sort of user activity where it's performing, I'd say, on an average level. But if you are spending a lot of money in the first couple days, you need to go ahead and exclude those zones. So that's where optimization begins usually. And then after that, you will have to look at your data a little further. So I'll show you the next step after you create your blacklist. So what I have done is I've gone ahead and I have pulled up all of the campaigns that I have run for one offer. So that's kind of where optimization led me whenever I reviewed the data. So first things first, in order to get an idea of where I need to be, you got to start with volume and you need to look at your zones. And so what I've done is I've looked at the first 3 days for this campaign because this is where my optimization would have begun. So in volume, you just come into the campaign and then I have the offers right here and the correct date for the first 3 days that I started this campaign. So therefore, we would just go to the zone ID and then we would apply it. The zone IDs are going to be the publishers within Propeller Ads, and these are going to be pretty much where the websites are that we are advertising to subscribers. Okay, so these are where the people are seeing the ad impressions that you were able to count in the Propeller Ads dashboard. The impressions are going to only be reviewed in the dashboard. That's why you have 0 here. That data is not being pushed back to volume. However, you can verify what your unique clicks are, which are going to be the single clicks through to the actual ad from this website, just in case there are multiple clicks to the same link. And then you can identify how many conversions there are. I like to look at pretty much the cost for every zone whenever I begin optimizing, and then how much I'm paying for each CPA conversion on this zone as well, kind of where I'm at. All right, so as far as where we begin, we usually go from descending order so we can see exactly where we're spending the most money. So by naturally, because I have 115 clicks to this particular zone and 3 conversions, it is going to end up being a zone that's going to cost a lot. But because the conversions are coming good in a good manner, right? They're coming at a good rate. I'm getting enough in order to make this particular zone profitable, so we would keep that running. I would use that as an example on what I would need to do to improve for these, okay? So maybe I could look at the creative IDs, I could look at the cellular connections, I could look at anything else that I may have been targeting specifically in this campaign to figure those things out. And then I would just say, okay, well, right now, yeah, I am going to be, so you want to be most likely around 3x your payout whenever you're looking at your costs to determine whether or not you need to exclude it. So since this payout is roughly around €2, we would look at, once we probably hit So that's an example where you need to look at hitting 12 euros in order to make a decision. But in this case, I just like to see if I have spent the payout at all, right? And if I have made it to that level and whether or not I'm profitable. And so in this case, it's just like a yes or no situation for me. Yeah, it's profitable. I'm good, right? Now, as far as down here, because I have not spent my CPA amount, which is 2 euros yet, which is going to be like the cost of one conversion. I like to at least get to at least that much of a threshold before I start crossing things out. And then right here, it's like where, you know, we're getting lucky. So we just have to keep our eye on things. But things are going really great. So we would definitely want to take advantage of zones like this, where out of 6 clicks, I was able to get 1 conversion, right? So those are the kind of things that we start looking at in the first day. I don't have anything to really do. I don't really have anything to really look at other than the creatives. So then I don't really drill down further from here. But if there were going to be anything that I do not want to utilize in this campaign, then I would have to go in here and edit my campaign. So let's expand this, right? So let's go into the rest of, let's go into the following week. So I started it on the 11th. Let's just go to Friday, okay? So if we look at the entire week and how everything is doing, then the picture is going to come through a little bit differently. And then while that's loading, let's see if this is finished loading over here. No, Propeller Ads is still trying to catch up. Okay, here we go. So you can see that we would use our estimator to kind of get an idea of how many clicks we would be able to retrieve for the entire campaign. I always do at least 3 to 4 creatives, and if you have not already taken our 3-step training in the affiliate Kickstarter forum, the AFK forum, go ahead and make sure you click down below. In one of the links that we have, you'll probably have to just type afkforum.com. But either way, join us there, take the training, and I'll show you campaign structure and how to get this all good to go. So at some point, I turned on target CPA. It was not like this in the beginning. I was manually optimizing everything. And then here you can see at some point, I ended up excluding this browser, and then these are the zones that I added to the zone limitation. So if we go back over to volume now, because it's loaded, and if I looked at my costs, so it looks, let's see, is this one 1524740? Did it not? Yeah, so there it is right there, right? So that's where I was saying, okay, I don't really have enough spend to go on, so I'm just gonna say, all right, how much have I exceeded the average payout? If I have exceeded that average payout by over like €1, I was like, all right, you got to go. So that one had to go. And then I used that analogy only because I had 100 clicks. If I had less than 100 clicks, I may not have made that decision. But because I had at least reached that minimum, I figured this zone was just not the right one right now in the beginning stages of the campaign while I was trying to keep it profitable to keep going, right? So as far as anything else, I would just come through here. You can copy and paste. So you would just copy the zone, and then you would come in here, paste it, and you would add a comma to do additional ones. So as you can see, I only got to around 4 before I started going by my target CPA that I was comfortable with paying. So this is wrong, okay? I was testing this target CPA just to see how it was going to perform. At this point, this is just me playing around with the data or what have you. But it should have been lower. It should have been at like 1, maybe, is where it should have been. So don't pay any mind to that. But then you can see my cost per click was at 5 cents. So for every click that I was getting, I was paying 5 cents per click at that point, and that comes into my bidding strategy. And so like today, I probably get an estimate of 3,427 clicks, if my push creatives were performing properly, and if I was able to place a good winning placement for getting my push notifications advertised on the traffic sources compared to all of the other advertisers and stuff, you know, stuff like that. So I got all that information from my zones. You just, like I said, just organize it, take a look at it, see where you're at, and then that's the first thing. The next thing I would usually look at when you're, after you get an idea of where your money is going, then you can take a look at the browser. So that's how I believe, no, that's not where I came into my next one. I think it was going to be the carrier. So whenever I looked at the mobile carriers, I wanted to get an idea of which mobile user I was getting the most activity and engagement from. So this is kind of where I got an idea of, okay, maybe I should target these folks. And then I have this other one that I ended up excluding, trying to see if I could optimize for these guys and things like that. So you can look at your mobile carriers because you already know it's Android devices, because with Propeller Ads you cannot target by Apple iOS devices. And then I would look at the hour of the day, because day parting is important with push notifications. You kind of want to take a look at when your peak activity occurs and when it does not occur, so you can see if you're on the right path. You can kind of get an idea of maybe where you're getting more conversions, see if it makes any sense to probably expand. So like maybe I could have done more here, like where we're getting the most clicks. That's where you go next. So then you can drill down further into the zones once you select a time, and then you can see, okay, which zone was coming forward for this time. So let's see where the most conversions came in for this day. And then if I go here and apply it, then I can say, all right, so I need to be paying attention to these zones in particular, okay? So that's why having a tracker is excellent. You can kind of figure out exactly what's going on where. And then if I wanted to figure out which carrier that was, so I kind of know who's doing what. I don't think it was that was mobile carrier. So then now I have that information, okay? So which particular carrier was responsible for those conversions. So I got 5 conversions during this time. And let's see here. And then here is going to be 1 conversion that I got. And then the carrier responsible for that would have been Stingtail. So that's why you need a tracker, if you can take a look. This kind of information is what you kind of can't see in Propeller Ads, even though they have a built-in tracker. But let's just talk about the creatives before I jump into the dashboard and expand on my statement about trackers in the platform. So here are going to be the push notifications. I have some that are enabled. I have some that are disabled. I have some that have different combinations of certain things that I just wanted to test out. I have different angles that I'm trying here, okay? And sometimes the angles that I'm trying, you have to kind of expand on angles when it comes to your icons in addition to your images, and that goes beyond the words that you're using. You gotta test creatives, gotta test emojis, you gotta test when you should use emojis, when you shouldn't use emojis. So that is what I wanted to touch base on here. And then as you can see, I started playing around with different user activities. So let's jump into the dashboard now, and I will show you how you can optimize if you are not using a tracker. And we will go to October 11th, and I will pull up all of these campaigns. So CPC high is where I started, and then I ended up duplicating and adding high and medium, and then I ended up playing around with target CPA so that it would automatically optimize certain zones for me and pause things for me on its own, or stop them. It never got to stopping anything. So therefore, and I tried to see if I can take the creatives that had the highest click-through rates and see if I could increase my profits that way by changing the bidding model. So let's go over how I took advantage of what I had in the early days in Propeller Ads. So next, this is going to be so if we jump back to where you can create your blacklist, you would also be able to come here into the dashboard, and then you can just hit exclude here. So as you can see, this is a target CPA. I probably would not have paused this. So this is something that I would have had to keep an eye on because of the cost. Like for example, this one's still running, so this one is doing good. So it was targeting all the zones. And if you guys want me to dive into target CPA, just make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss that video that I'll be doing next. So whenever I was manually optimizing, I showed you before, those zones I copy and paste into edit campaign, and then you can come here and exclude. There is also a third way that you can optimize that I will show you guys. I'm very excited to, but I'm still playing around with it. And when I get around to completing that little experiment that I have on the side, I will drop that content for you in an upcoming video too. So the creatives are where you can figure out how good your images are performing, so on and so forth. So as you can see, I came here and I looked at the click-through rate first, is usually where I come in, and then you can pause and start right here, and that's it. That's all as simple. That's as simple as this. Then you can go in and edit the campaign. So if you would say, all right, well, I do want to keep the volume going. So let's say you wanted this amount of impressions and you wanted to try to get the campaigns to prioritize impressions to these two. You could have probably just stole all of that, duplicated it, probably test different descriptions to see if there's maybe another description that you can get working. You can refresh and try different icons. I just stopped at 2, right? Because they just weren't working. And that's pretty much what you want to do. You want to look at how many clicks or conversions, because the platform is going to prioritize the best performing creative, okay, just by default. And then you can dive a little deeper, as I showed you before, into what you want to include and exclude and all of that other stuff. And so then that's where you go into different bidding models and things like that, right? So it's a little bit different than how you would do in ZeroPart, which is great. Why we have their partnership and their guidance in that part of the course that we have coming up. And I can help you guys when it comes to Propeller Ads, because I love maneuvering around this platform too. And I'll be testing other traffic sources as well to find other alternatives that can uphold the scalability based on their database volume, and also their quality of traffic is very important as well. And so the type of clicks that we're getting to these particular creatives, you can see how much it's spending, and you can get that kind of breakdown as well. If you are using your parameters and your tokens correctly, you can look at your creative IDs in volume, but I don't believe we had that set up. And then remember, I had this split between high and medium user activity, so I'll need to figure out where I'm getting the most conversions. And as I assumed it was going to be high, but there are some times where my assumptions are wrong. So then you need to optimize for that. I could have gone further, but this is kind of where I got a little busy, and running campaigns just was not technically something I could keep an eye on at the moment. So as you can see here, I kind of played around with the ones that were not working in this campaign with different user activities. I figured, okay, maybe that's another way to optimize, is see if maybe it just wasn't fit for those type of subscribers, because maybe the publisher zones that they were subscribing to just weren't hitting the mark with what I was trying to promote. Well, I was right. So therefore, I needed to create a campaign geared toward different user activities instead of all of them. That's how you can optimize. So I go over kind of when you should and shouldn't do these things, kind of what kind of things you need to rotate and when, and how it impacts certain metrics that you're reviewing whenever you're trying to analyze your data. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of the push course that we have coming up with Volume and Zero Part. It's been a fun project to work on. But besides all of that, it's just, as you can see, it's very simple and straightforward. You just take a look at what's good, what's bad, and pause it, replace it. You can adjust your bids. You can add additional measures like target CPA. There's a lot of approaches that you can take. So that I do want to do like a brief little recap just to kind of touch base on everything that I showed you and how to make sure you are now familiar with how to optimize the right way with Propeller Ads. Okay, so again, first things first, you're going to create your blacklist. You can identify the zones that are performing poorly, that are getting high activity, some clicks, no conversions. You can kind of keep it at like a fair level where you just look at how much you're spending compared to the payout for that zone. But however, we do recommend taking into consideration how much you're spending once you get to at least 3x your payout, which may not happen within the first couple of days depending on how you're bidding. Now, also, the next thing you need to do is take a look at your creatives, drill down your reports, take a look at the time of day that you're getting conversions, take into consideration the type of copy that you're running and all of those different little variables that you would want to play around with. And then you would try to either scale it or use different bidding models or advertise to different user activities. There's so many different combinations on how you can optimize within Propeller Ads to increase your conversion.
Are you struggling with your affiliate marketing business or want to take things to the next level? Allow me to introduce you to Dijs University. Dijs University is the #1 affiliate marketing training platform in the world. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced affiliate marketer, Dijs University offers you thousands of different videos with topics such as Facebook, volume, adplexity, and many more of your favorite topics. Step by step, you will learn the secret super affiliate ways to get the most out of each traffic source. Dominate each vertical with our detailed quick start guides. Are you ready to get started? Click the link in the description to sign up today.